see you. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I turned 24 this year. Right now I've been working and I'm doing marketing in the healthcare sector.
Have you eaten breakfast?
Not yet.
Do you want toast? Let's have breakfast at the living room. So how is life?
So actually my siblings also have been looking for a new home now that their families are expanding, and it also kind of sparked that thought with me recently about how I hope to own my own home in the next 5 to 7 years. It seems very distant for me now, like I can't really see myself owning my own home. I don't really know how to start saving for it as well.
I'm seeing a lot of young people now, they've got a lot of sort of like supervision guide to help them see through this, because it's not easy, I know it's not.
Well, I'm not a student anymore. I have to think a lot about my expenditure, have to save a little bit more, and think about how I'm going to probably invest my money a lot better and how I'll be able to afford such a big asset next time. I'm looking forward to meet with a financial consultant today. I must say I'm pretty excited because I've never gotten professional or expert advice on my financial concerns before. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Hello, Steph.
Hi, Vasu.
Thank you for coming down.
I think now that I'm a bit more financially independent, I've been thinking about potentially owning my own home within the next 5 to 7 years, which right now seems a bit impossible. But yeah, so maybe I'm hoping you could shed some light on that.
It's good that you have an aspiration to own your own home, which is a great thing. OCBC did a survey, and what came through from the survey was quite interesting. 49% of millennials are worried about money matters, and 55% of millennials who were surveyed were worried about a home, a roof over their head. But the key thing is to be aware that you need to save and then invest that savings very prudently. Give it time to grow so that you'll be able to achieve your objective of building a pool of money which you can then use to purchase a house. Interest rates are very, very low right now. You can consider things like, for example, bonds. Corporate bonds, for example, they can offer you pretty good yield in some cases. You can consider real estate investment trusts. You can consider stocks or even unit trusts that offer you a payout either from dividends or income from the underlying investments. So there are ways and means to grow your money or to get a payout that is higher than what you get out of the very low deposit rates. But bear in mind that higher returns come with higher risk.
Like I've seen many of these apps coming out where they do all these like robo-investing sort of thing, and I just wanted to ask, maybe you can explain that a little bit more to me.
Robo-invest platform is actually quite ideal for young and relatively new investors. You can invest with as little as US $100, so it's very affordable and it makes investments very accessible for young people who are just starting off on the investment journey. You don't need to monitor your investments very carefully. It's automated and you get the alert, and then you can make a decision as to whether you want to rebalance or otherwise.
What would you recommend be like the exact percentage of what goes into investments every month, what goes to my long-term savings?
Well, I think essentially the starting point has to be you look at your income and expenses in granular details, right? And to make sure that you're not overspending, save at least 10% of your income. And to make sure that you set aside what we call an emergency fund. This fund is something you tap into to cover you at least 6 months of your expenses in the event of something unfortunate happening. For example, job loss. Once you've done that, I think the rest of the money you can invest.
Would you also recommend tapping on my CPF for investments as well?
Well, you can tap on your CPF for investments, but I would suggest putting aside the CPF first, because your CPF savings do give you pretty good returns. Treat it as your safe investment. You're very young, you've got a long runway ahead of you, you can afford to be aggressive. So you can afford to suffer setbacks and recover from the setbacks. I think the key thing here is to invest carefully, invest prudently, not to speculate in the markets. It's not about timing the markets, it's about how long you stay invested in the markets. That's very, very important as well. Because I think the problem is when you speculate in the markets, you may end up with losses, and then that deters you from investing for a long time, and that disadvantages you. Because unless you invest, your money is not going to grow.
Thanks so much for your advice for today. I think I've really learned a lot.
Thank you, Steph.
So after speaking with Vasu, he mentioned that as a young person, just focus purely on building up my pool of savings, and at the same time siphon away a bit of money every month as long as I keep my investments growing. I admit right now I don't really think too much about my expenses, but if I want to achieve my goal of owning my own home in 5 to 7 years, I probably need to take this advice, and I'll definitely need to be a bit more well-read on these kinds of portfolios as well. So that's something that I'll be looking into. Hi Godma, I actually spoke with a financial consultant from OCBC last week. I've taken a look at some of the robo-investment plans available, and I do see that the risk is very high for some. But after what Vasu said, right now I'm still very young. I have a long runway ahead of me to recover. So this is something that I shouldn't be intimidated by. I know now down payments for a BTO, for example, can be between like 40 to 50K. So I think my goal would now to be to save and accumulate at least about 45K by the end of 5 years. I think I need to put in at least about $300 more into robo-investing every month. So I think if I just take the first step right now and put these little amounts every month, I believe that I really can achieve my goal of owning a home in the next 5 to 7 years.